The following podcast is intended for slightly mature audiences.
If you're under 18, please ask a parent or guardian for permission to listen.
How's them tea leaves?
Oh, this vapor tea is delicious. Like I said, it's all the rage in places like Colorado,
Massachusetts.
California,
And soon, New Jersey.
New Jersey. We don't really say it like that. I love matcha. You know, I love hibiscus tea.
I've become a big fan of hibiscus, honestly. It's become one of the bigger ones. I don't prefer
celestial seasonings. Like, I swear to God, like their zingers, they're all like hibiscus based, but they also have like other flavors in there, like mixed berry, red zinger, lemon zinger, but they're all hibiscus based and they're all so good.
That sounds yummy.
Lemon zinger is my go-to when I'm feeling ill.
You need a pick-me-up?
No, I got a fever, drink some lemon zinger. Oh, raspberry zinger is good too.
Raspberry zinger?
Yes.
Oh, I love raspberry.
Oh, and they also have the sangria zinger now. Yo, that shit is bomb.
It's sangria tea?
Sangria tea.
What?
Yeah.
How do I get margarita tea? Like,
if only.
Oh, man.
Let's write to Celestial Seasonings.
Yeah.
Make this happen.
If you're listening, Celestial Seasonings, make a margarita tea. I need it. What are you drinking today?
Water.
You drinking water? What kind of water?
Water from a fucking Brita filter, you asshole. What the fuck?
Whatever, okay? I don't know. Is it...
When have you ever asked me what brand of water I'm drinking today? Like,
I'm drinking a White Russian, okay? I just wanted to know.
I'm drinking water. It's a bottle of water.
I'm just trying to involve you in...
I'm involved. If I wanted alcohol, I'd probably be drinking a hard apple cider. But I don't have any, so here I am. And I'm staying hydrated.
I like that. That's healthy.
Yeah. See, so you can't yell at me.
I would be normally. Okay. How do you feel about starting?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Sweet Stuff Bitter Thangs podcast, episode number 1.
Yay!
Yes. I'm Cassie.
I'm Sandra.
We're going to be introducing ourselves a little bit, discussing the dynamic of our friendship, and doing a year in review for 2020. Do you want to do the joy of telling people how we got our name?
Okay, I'm not going to lie. I don't fully remember. You told me I came up with it because I was like, oh my God, that's so good. Like, you came up with it. I did. I don't remember.
So the stuff and thangs part came, unfortunately, from an episode of The Walking Dead where it was probably the funniest, stupidest thing to us at the time, where what's his name? Rick. He says
guy, right? Rick.
Yeah. He says in response to something, he says stuff, thangs, and it...
Yes! Oh, I forgot about that.
And
that stuck with us so hard.
It did. We said it for the longest time, because if there's anything you want to get out of The Walking Dead, it's just that one scene, and then Coral, and and that's about it, because the rest is trash. So we got that from that. And then as we started talking, you came up with the idea of doing a podcast.
That's so weird that I would be so ambitious because normally I'm like Stop trying to reach for the top, Sandra.
No, you really gung-hoed it from the beginning. You were like, this is something, and it was consistent too. You really kept up with it. This is like the main reason why we're here, is because you wanted to make this a thing so badly.
I remember over the last couple months, I have been being a little more gung-ho. That part's true. I really think that the sweet and bitter really describes us super well. I'm super pessimistic, so I'm negative all the time. Most of the time, not all the time. Most of the time, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the negative Nancy, so I tend to be kind of bitter, jaded.
I tend to take a bit more of an optimistic approach. I'm kind of the one that's like, yeah, let's just keep chugging. Like, it's going to get better no matter what, you know? And occasionally I have my fallouts where I need to be uplifted by you usually. That's sort of where, I don't remember what exact conversation we had where we came up with the combination of Sweet Stuff and Bitter Thangs. But I remember at the time we were just really stuck on that Stuff and Thangs. And we were just talking about making a podcast, and we were like, what would we name it? And we came up with the idea of making a podcast not only about our friendship, but also of the dynamic that we have, which is I'm extremely optimistic, you're extremely pessimistic, and sometimes that clashes. And we don't always agree. And that's okay to be best friends, but it does make for some hilarious, if not vital conversation.
Oh, for sure. I also feel like we tend to balance each other out. Even though, like, I'm super negative, I got you covered on that. You could be that overly optimistic person because I'm there to bring you down when you need it.
You do a good job of it, because it does bring me back to reality, which I need sometimes, because sometimes I'm a little gullible, I'm a little naive, I'll admit it. And sometimes I need someone to be like, listen, you're being stupid and you need to not, which is you.
And me. Sometimes I need somebody to kind of lift me up and be like, you know, the reason you're not getting any shit done is because you keep thinking about how terrible everything is. So how about you stop doing that for just a little bit? There are good things around you too.
I love us.
Yeah, we're kind of fucking awesome.
We're pretty awesome. So we've been friends for 16 years now.
That's such a long time.
It's a very long time. So we already have an idea for the next episode of this podcast, which is we're going to have a guest on. We're going to have a discussion about internet friendships and relationships. I feel like it's really important right now, especially during COVID, where socialization is something that's really difficult. We're going to talk about that today. Sort of steamrolling into our first topic is how we met, which...
Gaia Online.
Gaia Online. Can you tell us about Gaia Online, please, Sandra?
Oh, God. It was awful. I mean, at the time, we thought it was the best thing ever, but in reality, it was awful. And I think it's still around, right?
It is.
Yeah. I haven't logged in there in I don't know how long. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's hacked the account. Yeah, it's a role-playing forum. It's kind of like loosely based off of, like, you know, generic anime tropes and art. It was kind of a place where, like, people could gather and talk about anime and video games and art and, you know, find other people around the world that wanted to talk about the same thing. Also, they had a really creepy dating thing.
Oh, yeah, Gaia Personals.
Yeah, Personals.
That got shut down.
It got shut down, yeah. It wasn't around for super long, but it was there for a little bit. There were creeps on there.
Also, let's preface this by you know, repeating, like, we've been friends for 16 years. So when we met, I was 14.
Yeah, so I was about 16, 17.
Mm-hmm. So when we met on Gaia Online, you had a less than positive idea of me right off the bat.
It was in the official gravitation thread, I think.
It was.
Yeah. So I was a regular in that thread, and for whatever reason, I decided I was going to be an elitist in there because I was just there all the time. But I'm a super serious person, and I don't know why. Like, at the time in real life, I was really shy. I was not very vocal. Like, I would not stand up for myself. I had really low self-esteem. But online, I was like very firm, really assertive. And I felt like I had to like push this idea of me that like I had control over like the situation. So, but you came along in this thread and you were so goofy. I hated it. You flew in on a piece of bacon.
I did.
It was literally like Asterix flies in on a piece of bacon. Asterix.
Oh, so cringe.
Falls over, hits face. Okay, you see where I'm going with this. It's really friggin' corny.
I was a cheesy child, but at the time I didn't know how to fit in. I had no idea. I had like no friends at all in real life, and I just discovered the internet. I was 14 years old. I just discovered things that made me happy, and I just wanted to be stupid. I don't know why. I found the internet and I was like, this is an outlet for me to just be all the feelings that I can't be in real life because I don't have anyone to put them on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I like attention. I don't care if it's positive or negative. I just enjoy just being as dumb as possible. And if it makes people laugh, that's great. If it doesn't, that's great too, because they don't need to be around me because sometimes I am really dumb and I don't even mean to be.
I can think of a couple of times.
Oh, no.
Save those for another day.
Yeah, I could write a book on all the stupid things that I've said to you that you're just like, how are you an educated person? How do you have a degree? It's ridiculous. College standards these days are really bad. So when we first met, obviously, it took us a little while before we started. I think it was when we started talking on the phone. I don't know why we decided to start talking on the phone.
I'm not really sure. You kept visiting the thread, so like we kept interacting,
mm-hmm.
On Gaia. But I had met someone else also in the thread. We had become friends first, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this was like one of my first like internet connections, and they just happened to be from the same state as me, New Jersey. He and I were getting kind of close, and then like you popped in, and I don't know, somehow the three of us just kind of like integrated. I don't know how it happened. I don't remember like a specific point in time where I was like, this person's not half bad.
I just kind of grew on you.
Yeah, like I think the more I was around you, the more I was like, okay, yeah, that was kind of funny.
Oh no. So when we started to talk on the phone, we started to have really lengthy conversations. The person we're talking about, by the way, who was in our group at the time and still a part of our lives, they're going to be on a future episode of this podcast. So secret guest.
Yay. Please look forward to it.
Yes. So when we started our friendship, that's how we first met online, and we can get more into how our friendship has evolved through an online relationship, I feel like, next time. But I want to talk about when we first met in real life.
Oh man.
Because that was, I think, when you realized what you were getting into as a friend.
I was so weirded out, but at the same time I was like, this is my friend. This is my best friend. Like, oh my God. That's when we met to go to the convention, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. So my aunt told me that for my graduation gift, she would pay for me and my friend to go to Otakon. And at the time, it was in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm from New Jersey. And Cassie at the time was living in Massachusetts. You know, she was like, yeah, your friend can come down for a week. We'll go to the convention. So this was my very first time being able to meet somebody I met off the internet, like from that far away. Because like I said, like I met someone else who was from New Jersey, and like my mom took me to the mall to meet them. So like that was one thing. Both our parents were present, but you, Cassie, were going to be coming on a train by yourself.
My mom was so relaxed. I was 14 years old, took a train to Central Station, and then to Newark by myself.
North Penn Station, yeah.
Yeah. So
And
I met
that's
a homeless
where
person there.
Oh yeah, well they're all over the place.
That was my first actual interaction with a homeless person, and I gave them a $20 Subway card because I had it for like lunch for that day, and I was just like, I'm too nervous and excited to eat.
Well, I'm sure you made someone pretty happy with that.
It comes around, man.
That's where my mom picked you up from the train station in Newark, and I was at an endocrinologist appointment. Now, so for anyone that isn't aware, which will probably be most people, I'm a type 1 diabetic. So I've been diabetic since I was 11 years old. And I was at an appointment just to, you know, make sure my numbers were okay, everything was going right, adjust my medication if I needed to. And one of the important things when you go to the endocrinologist is they have you take off your shoes and socks because they want to make sure that your circulation to your lower extremities isn't bad, you know, because that is a symptom that happens in diabetics when their blood sugars aren't, you know, going very well. And Cassie walks in with my mom, and the first thing that she says is, you have really nice feet. And that was our first interaction in real life, where I was like, oh my God, you're real. You're here.
I want to segue this into, I didn't realize I was a fetishist until much later in life. And I apologize for non-consensually sexualizing your feet in a platonic way.
You know, I didn't feel like it even went that way. I just thought, like, listen, feet in general to me are ugly, but like, I think that I had, like, my feet weren't gross looking, you know, like, listen, my dad, God rest his soul, he had nasty feet. Nasty feet. Okay. So it was kind of a relief for me that somebody thought my feet looked nice.
You could make money off those feet. Okay, if you're wearing sandals out in the summer, you're giving people free porn.
Oh my God, that's awful.
I know. See, you think about things
could be making money.
So one thing I want to share about myself is that I am into the BDSM lifestyle. I am a kink model. It's sort of been something that I've been discovering more about in the last year or so. And this is not in any way a kink podcast, but since it is a big part of my life, there will be times where I will talk about it or introduce it as a topic, because it is something that I'm still discovering about myself. And I want to share things with, not only with you, but with everyone in a way that makes me, you know, feel like I'm reaching out to a bigger community. I realized that I was into kink without realizing what it was when I was in, I hope to God she's listening. I think she follows us on Facebook. I was in the cafeteria in middle school. It was like 6th grade. And there was this girl that we used to go back and forth a lot with because she, at the time, was a little bit of a bitch. And I told her that to her face. And she turned around and she smacked me just so hard in the face.
Ooh.
And I didn't hate it. I was kind of like, huh, okay. I feel like I should feel differently about how that went down. So that was like my first real experience where I was like, I don't think I'm into things like other people are. And then when I was like 16 or so, and I started getting more and more interested in dominant and submissive dynamics, but I didn't understand anything about it because there wasn't a lot of material at the time for us to be exposed to, I feel like. So now that I'm older, the last 2 years especially, I've gotten a lot more interested in it, but I won't rant about it, just as a preface to future podcasts, that it will be something that I will probably talk about.
Want to include here that we are very inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
We don't shame anyone for, any reason, as long as, you're not hurting anyone. We are totally open to everyone. So, I mean, if you have any negative views about like the LGBTQ community or anything else that's going on, the white supremacist shit, we don't want you here.
Yeah, no, it's we're 20 or so minutes in the podcast, but if you're listening and you in any way support the Proud Boys, just leave. We don't want you here. I like to think that we're really for equality. I think one thing we tend to not agree all the way on issues, but one thing we will agree with is that true equality, it doesn't exist in America, and it's something that we have to fight to strive for, and we have to accept that and try and work on it as people, especially since we're both white. So we're not perfect, but we in no way support anything that goes against those sort of communities, the people of color, LGBTQ community, which we're both a part of, the kink community. As long as you're consensual, you're not abusing children or animals, I support you. I will not kink shame you. You will not kink shame.
I will not.
Yeah, so we're good there. If you're still with us, welcome. We're celebrating 2021, which is not been as promising a beginning of a year as we thought it was going to be. Back to our tea leaves.
Nah, tea.
We're taking a tea break.
Tea. Man, I could use some of that tea you used to make me.
Oh my God. I was just thinking about that today, where I was like, that is something that I really miss.
That was fun.
That was so
like
fun.
with a fire pit going.
It was just so relaxing, and like none of it was extremely psychedelic or overwhelming. It was just sort of just chill. I can't describe it any other way than it was just the maximum chill I've ever experienced.
It really was, especially like the very first time. Oh my God, it was great. It was like, honestly, it made me feel like almost pure happiness.
There was fire, there was spinning, there were s'mores.
There were
s'mores and potatoes.
Oh my God, the potatoes. We baked potatoes.
In the fire. It was
in
so
the
cool.
fire.
Remember our camping trip?
Yeah, I want to go camping again.
I want to go camping again too. That
When it
was so
gets
much fun.
warmer in the spring, maybe late spring.
Yeah. This break was brought to you by tea leaves.
Of any kind that you may prefer.
I'm a fan of Blue Dream. Okay, so we have a little bit of time that we actually have a lot of time that I want to we're going to ask a few questions of each other and sort of put each other in a situation to see how much we know about each other.
I like this idea.
So I've got a couple of questions that I feel like are enjoyable. Is there anything that you see inside of me that you feel like I'm not sure of?
Is there anything I see inside of you? There is so much. Like, you seriously do not value yourself as much as you should.
Wow.
Like, you are such an amazing person to me. Like, you honestly keep me afloat. So, but yeah, you're a really resilient person. I don't think you give yourself enough credit for how, like, amazing you are. That's my opinion. I'm super biased, though.
You're so biased.
I'm so biased. You already know.
For someone who has a lot of optimism, I will agree that I'm a little self-deprecating.
You're very self-deprecating.
Just a wee bit.
Where do you think you will be 10 years from now?
Oh, that's easy. You'll be with me. We'll be living in a beautiful 5-bedroom house. We'll each have an office. Everyone will have a bedroom. We'll have a huge kitchen with black chalkboard walls. It will be amazing. We're going to have a backsplash behind our oven, sunflowers in the front yard, and a Christmas tree that's spray painted black just for fun.
Is my future husband going to have a place in this home?
I mean, we'll fit him in.
I would hope he would propose to me within the next 10 years.
Listen, I guess that's your backup plan. I'll agree to that. No, you'll probably be in Canada. Let's be honest. You're not gonna. This place sucks.
I don't really want to stick around, to be honest with you.
I think you'll be in Canada. I think that in 10 years, we may not be doing this, but I think that we will be doing something with creativity. I think that we're sort of on a roll to advance together in a way that we understand each other as friends enough to maybe become business partners.
I totally agree. I could see us collaborating on something like completely new and different, like, down the road.
And yeah, I guess you'd be married and live in a house with your perfect husband and whatever.
He is by no means perfect. Oh, Lord.
I'm going to beat him until he becomes perfect. Because I'm going to live a minimum no more than 2 towns away from you.
I love that. So I will somehow find a way to get you to immigrate to Canada.
We're talking 10 years. So like this is totally feasible.
Yeah, no, for sure.
What do you think scares me the most?
I think failing scares you the most. A lot of times I see you like with your art. You're so good at art, but like you go through these phases where like you never think it's good enough. And like instead of like continuing on, you just like drop it for a while because you're so scared of actually failing that you don't want to like put it out there. You'll just drop it.
Okay, really accurate. That is, I have ADHD. It's really difficult for me and I have severe ADHD. It's gotten worse as an adult. and it makes me unable to finish things, and it gives me a certain anxiety about following through with anything, because I would rather not even, that's why I don't tell people that I'm working on things unless I know it's going to come to fruition. That's a really accurate answer. I thank you for that.
That's what I'm here for. Am I right? Am I
Yeah.
right?
It's your turn.
Okay, I kind of like this one.
Uh-huh.
If you got into an argument with your best friend over your lover when they aren't around, would you stand up for your lover? So do you think I would stand up for my lover if you and I were fighting about him?
Oh, man. Okay, I think that if we were already in a heated discussion, not an argument, if we were already in a heated discussion and it got brought up, I think that you might defend him depending on the circumstances. I think that you're willing to defend anyone who's in the right. So if I'm wrong, you're definitely going to do it. You're going to, you know, back it up with like, yeah, sometimes he's an idiot because I love you, Sandra's boyfriend. You're an idiot. I think you would, depending on the circumstances. If we're in a fight about him, I don't think you're just gonna see right through it and be like, this isn't about him at all. This is about you and me. And you'll probably deflect on that part because honestly, there's no reason for me to fight with you about your boyfriend because, you know, that's stupid.
Yeah, I don't see us ever getting into a fight about him. I just thought that was kind of a funny question. But yeah, I think you're right. Like, listen, if it's like about something that he did and I thought he was in the right, you know, like, yeah, I would stand up for him. But like, if you told me something I didn't know, you're like, no, I saw him do this, you know, okay, well, like, I think I would hear you out before I make a judgment on anything, you know?
Yeah. You're pretty fair in that aspect where you sort of, when it comes to like the general population, you're very like, fuck this, fuck that. Or like, I love this, I love that. Like you have the ability to choose without reason. Because you're passionate. That's, the passion.
Oh, I'm passionate.
Yes. Very. Out of the two of us, you are severely more passionate than I am about many things. But when it comes to your loved ones, you're usually the voice of reason where you're able to put aside your extreme feelings and you're just able to say the truth. Like either, no, this is what's happening, or yes, this is what's happening. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you've always been that person.
To be fair, I think you're also that person too, because there have been times where I have complained about my partner and you've been like, okay, really, you're just being over the top and it's kind of dumb for you to be in a fight over this. Like, you're kind of wrong. You'll tell it like it is too. And that's when I'm like, when I hear it from you, I'm like, okay, well, Cassie said it, so it's got to be true.
It's got to be something.
Yeah, like she's observed it.
Yeah. Here's one for you. Do you think I would relocate for love?
Not unless it's somewhere that you wanted to go. I think if you had a partner that was like, oh my God, I have like a great opportunity over in Alaska and I want you to come with me.
I'm already like face palming.
Yeah, you'd be like, no.
Yeah, nah.
No. You can come visit me. We'll fuck. But no.
Yeah. You're right.
What else was like, let's go. Moving you up to Boston.
I would do that.
Yeah.
I think I'm at a point in my life where I would probably move in with somebody as long as I am very relaxed in relationships, but I have one big rule. You do not raise your voice at me. Once you raise, it's my only standard now. The last 3 people that I've dated have not raised their voice at me at all. And it's been so refreshing. It's never happened once. And as soon as I made that standard for myself, I had much happier relationships because I never put myself in a situation where I felt smaller of a person. I've especially, like I said, I've introduced kink into my lifestyle, and I'm a dom, so that means I usually have control over the situation. Some might argue that subs have the control over the situation, but let's be honest, I usually have control of the situation. And because I've made that a thing for myself, I think I'm at a point in life, the last 5 years, I really haven't wanted to, if it's somewhere I agree with, I might do it. I might move in with someone.
Yeah. See?
That's a big thing for me.
That is a big thing for you. You're very
I'm very non-committal.
Independent.
Oh, that was okay. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, hey.
Wow, you're much nicer.
That's how you want to describe yourself.
I can commit when I want to, when I feel obligated to.
You shouldn't feel obligated to, though.
That's my problem.
You should just want to.
I haven't felt obligated to for a while, thankfully, because nobody's made me feel like I need to do any major, like people have relationship milestones. I don't have those things anymore. We just live and be happy. Moving in will change that, if it ever happens. It's your turn.
This is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Do I believe in soulmates?
Oh, okay. So there's actually, you explained this to me, so you're probably going to take up the majority of this answer, but you read something, right? Or watched something about the theory of soulmate and how it threads people together?
Yeah. So I really can't even remember what book it was. And I want to remember because I want to read it again. But in this book, the way it was describing soulmates was 2 people were linked together, as a reincarnation almost. So your life ends and your soul splits. And so, when life begins again, you look for that other piece of you, but slowly, there's more splits. So you can have multiple soulmates, and it doesn't have to be just a lover. It can be any kind of special relationship. It can be a parent, a sibling, a friend, a lover, a mentor. It can be any special relationship to you. That person can be a soulmate. It's just someone that understands you, someone that used to be a part of you, and now you're both outside, but you still understand each other. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yes, and bouncing off that, because you knew how I was going to answer, I just couldn't articulate it as well as you could. We are soulmates. We are kindred spirits, hands down. I've never felt so connected to a person in a way that sometimes it's, from Mean Girls, it's ESPN and shit. We just kind of think the same, or will maybe call each other at the same time. And I know sometimes it's coincidence, but if you are best friends with someone and you ever find yourselves thinking about each other at the same time, I don't think that's coincidence. I think that's just a connection that you have. If you find yourself, if you've ever found yourself texting someone and the person was like, hey, I was just thinking about you, in a non, ridiculous way, I think that's something that connects people. And I think that's that's soulmates, you know, when you feel the same feelings, when you are able to be empathetic in a way that you wouldn't normally be towards other people.
Yep. And I would definitely agree. We are soulmates. I have believed this for a very long time.
Yes.
I have felt that like you're one of the only people that like truly has understood me. Even when I've acted like a brat, you've been there for me through all my anger issues and all my negativity, you know.
What emotion do you think I experience the most?
I think you experience a lot of excitement.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong about that, but like I feel like you're always looking forward to something. Whether it's like you were talking about, you've gotten more into the kink community, and you know, you're always excitedly telling me about things you're doing and the things you've learned, and you know, I kind of learned through you more about those kinds of things. But even with this project, you've taken so much initiative. You really look forward to it. I feel like a lot of times, like, you go all in when you really commit yourself to something. And it's hard for you to commit yourself to something. But I always feel like whatever you're, you know, working on, like, you're really excited about.
I love that answer.
Aw, thanks.
That made me smile the whole time. The happiest smile.
Aw, oh my God, you're so cute.
Okay, 2 more questions and then we'll move on to the next topic. You go.
Okay, let's see. What's one thing that people always misunderstand about me?
I think that's kind of going to bounce off of the question that I wanted to ask.
Oh.
Yeah, I think.
This is the soulmates thing working right here.
Yeah, I was really going to ask a question that's very similar to that. I feel like something that people misunderstand about you is that you are intimidating, because I know you when you are sharp as a whip when you are focused, but it's very easy to get you into a mood where you're vulnerable. And I think that a lot of people see you, that you have got resting bitch face. You just, especially when, you know, the New Jersey Spaniard, like, personality comes into full bloom, you're like, holy shit, this person is passionate and like extreme, and you know, but in actuality, you're very, like, if someone sits down and tells you about their life, you are extremely empathetic. You are extremely personable in a way that people can relate to and people can sort of bounce off of very easily. I think it's easy to open up to you, and you don't give off that vibe when people first meet you. I don't feel like, I think you give off this very, like, leave me the fuck alone vibe. But anyone who is capable of holding an intelligent, even semi-intelligent conversation with you can get really far.
I really love that answer.
Aw.
And I do. I feel that way. Like, I feel like people think of me as like a really intimidating person when they look at me, or, you know, I guess that kind of seems like my attitude. But the truth is, I'm actually probably more intimidated of you. Like,
Yeah.
That's how I've been most of my life. Very, like, but, you know, I also have to keep my guard up. And you know, sometimes I did kind of take advantage of the resting bitch face and, you know, let people know, like, hey, I don't want you to talk to me. I want to be alone. And it did come in handy for that. But yeah, I mean, if somebody's like, hey, I'm feeling really bad and I want to talk to somebody, can I talk to you? I will always lend an ear.
And that's always been you. As long as I've known you, you've been like that. You've always been the more empathetic person. I'm the more optimistic, but you are the more empathetic. I disassociate from personal relationships very easily and personal connections.
I take feelings very seriously.
Yes.
I feel very, very hard.
Phrasing.
Phrasing.
So the last question, like I said, it's really similar to yours. What are some things that I wish people knew about me?
I think you wish people knew how strong you actually are. I think a lot of people look at you and mistake you for being this like small, vulnerable person, and you're not, like, at all. You know, you're so strong, you're resilient. You've been through some harrowing shit in your life, and you've come out, you know, a much stronger person.
Aw. We basically just said really nice things about each other for 20 minutes.
It's hard to say mean things about you.
I feel the same way. I thought maybe we would get into a little bit of a hish-hash about it, but no, that didn't happen at all. One of the things that I wanted to get into, that we both really wanted to get into, is we have had really weird 2020s. Not only just bad in general, but really weird with everything that has happened. COVID is such a big thing now. It's something that you can't ignore. It's a part of our everyday lives. It's sort of concrete for at least the foreseeable future this year. But it overtook all of last year. So we're doing a 2020 year in review. And I want to ask you, we both know, how was your year?
Oh God, it was so shitty for the most part. Yeah, no, it was really shitty. 2020 was horrible.
It was awful. Between everything that went on with the presidency, with all of politics, was insane. The way that we started 2021, I don't think I was personally prepared for how overwhelming it was going to be to talk about the year 2020. I'm going to be honest. But for me, my 2020 began as sort of, I was feeling weird in the beginning. I was shacked up in a place that became uncomfortable over time, and I wanted to leave. I became homeless for 3 months. And it sort of, I lost a big part of myself because I'm a very social person. So sort of disconnecting from the social aspect of my life has been really difficult for me. It's been something that I've struggled with, especially recently, because I've been very much just doing things at home all the time, partaking in projects that don't even require me to leave the house. I haven't left the house seriously in weeks now. And it's taken a toll on the way that I interact with people, I feel like. The pros of the last year for me is I feel like I've evolved as a person. I think anyone that goes through the kind of things that I went through last year personally, you either grow from it or you break down from it. And I really grew from it. I became a person who is a lot more unwilling to be taken advantage of. I became a person that learned independence in a completely new way. I was a person that learned who my true friends were. And that really helped me evolve over 2020. I'm starting 2021. It hasn't been great. It hasn't looked great. But as always, I'm the voice of optimism. So I'm going to try and wrap myself up in maybe creating some art now that we have a merch store. Oh, so yeah.
Yeah, 2020 has been pretty shitty. Like you mentioned, coronavirus, politics put a lot of strain on a lot of relationships, a lot of people that I thought were really decent people. I came to see that their views and mine did not align. I am super introverted, so I don't have a very like large group of friends. I prefer a small circle of friends, you know, people that I can get really close to. And so like when I see people that I've been really close to that I've really identified strongly with, and they're like, their views are so different from mine, it's not just tax arguments and shit like that. It's like moral shit. I'm like, I can't believe this is the person that you are. So that was a big thing that kind of impacted me and kind of affected my relationships with people. Also, the fact that I've been working the entire time through this pandemic. I don't get hazard pay for the job that I do. I'm not going to go into details about my job, but I don't get hazard pay for it. I do have to deal with people, luckily, not so much because of a lot of, restrictions and lockdowns when the virus first started. But, I am kind of still putting myself out there somewhat. And over the summer, I had gotten into a car accident. My car was totaled, so that was shitty. I don't know. Something that I appreciate about 2020, though, is that I didn't have to interact with people as much. And, like, I know that sounds shitty, but, like, honestly, that's, like, I love it. Like, this contactless shit, this is awesome to me.
Yeah.
Social distancing, yes. When you're online at the grocery store and someone's like right on top of you when they're behind you, like, do you think that it's gonna move faster if you're like on my ass? It's not. So I like this 6-foot rule. It's great. It's great for me.
It has worked out like surprisingly well, I gotta be honest.
Now, mind you, I still want the pandemic to go away. I miss going to the beach.
I'm sick of it.
Yeah, like, I mean, I want to go out to eat. I miss going to restaurants and actually, like, not having to be, like, encapsulated, like, with plastic around us to avoid contact with other people,
Mm-hmm.
It kind of sucks. I miss those experiences. And it's funny because I didn't think I would, really, but it's just, you can't really make a good bowl of ramen at home. It's hard.
Oh yeah. Going into that, we have some posts on our Facebook. We asked people to tell us about their pros and cons of 2020. I'm going to read these out. DB Harris says, a positive, bouncing off of yours, this is basically an introvert's dreamland. Movies that were once only in theaters now premiere in streaming platforms. Nearly every restaurant and supermarket have carryout options, and you literally never have to go inside anywhere. Besides their job, they literally never have to leave the house unless they want to. Which as from the optimistic side, will both agree that is amazing in some ways. It's an introvert's dream. I consider myself only semi-introverted in the way that I like short bursts of time alone where I'm completely alone, devoid of all contact, and then I just want to be involved in everything. So this has not been my favorite part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an introvert in an extrovert's world, kind of deal, where I am conditioned to involve myself in things. And when I want to be alone, it's great. But I do like the fact that I can literally get to take out absolutely anywhere, and I don't have to go inside and order shit. I don't have to, I could pull up to Best Buy now and pick up shit right in front of the store.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Like, amazing. I mean, when I take my cat to the vet, I call them up, I tell them I'm outside, tell them what car I'm in. When it's his turn to go in, they come and pick him up from my car and take him inside. The vet calls me from inside the clinic and discusses whatever thing he's in there for. We talk, and then that's it. Then the front desk calls me and I pay over the phone, and then they bring him out to me with the paperwork.
It's so simple.
Yo, it's the best thing. It's the best. I just sit in my car and listen to music. It's great.
The negative response for that is, I have lost so much respect for family members and loved ones in the pandemic. People I love and care for will go out every weekend selfishly without precaution, knowing they are putting lives at risk without wearing a mask, and they don't have a care in the world. Even worse, I have family members that work in hospitals that are avid COVID deniers and anti-maskers. What hope do small communities have of recovering if the ones that take care of us don't even believe a potentially deadly virus exists? And I think that is just spot on for how I viewed people, because I have lost so much respect for people who are not willing to do the bare minimum to help the greater good of society.
Mm-hmm.
I put up the boundary has been lifted, to the point where my expectations are, you respect other people, just wear a fucking mask and wash your hands. Like, if we had just done that from the get-go, maybe we wouldn't be so bad, Right. And maybe people not so much, because our government didn't exactly handle it the way they should have either. I'm not going to put all of the effect of COVID in the US on the people, but what a big part.
Yeah, it made a huge impact on a lot of people. I definitely think if there weren't like people with these huge platforms denying, how to care for yourself, or like at least going along with what like places like the CDC and like what they're saying, just wear a mask, wash your hands. Like, I mean, listen, the amount of people that do not wash their hands even before the pandemic started is just fucking incredible. So, I mean,
yeah, it's gross.
You'd be surprised. You'd be really surprised.
And you know what? I haven't gotten sick nearly as much this year. I usually get sick a lot, all the time. I have barely been sick.
Knock on wood. Because, but I have not come down with anything at all this year, since like having to consistently wear a mask and like just being extra vigilant with sanitizer and washing my hands. Yeah, and like I said, I'm diabetic, a lot of times I get a lot of, I can get a lot of infections even from like minor cuts and scrapes. Not even a cold. I haven't even gotten a cold in over a year.
Yeah, I haven't gotten shit.
Like even a sore throat, nothing.
I've had because I'm a smoker, I have shitty lungs, so I cough a lot, but I haven't been necessarily sick. Other than, I eat garbage food and don't take care of myself. Kind of sick,
I eat a lot of spicy food, so my sinuses just kind of open up. I swear to God, I'm not sick. I'm blowing my nose because the spicy, it's just so good, but I need to clear my nostrils, like now that my sinuses have ejected a bunch of mucus out of my body.
See, I have to explain to people, I cough a lot in public and I'm like, I vapor tea leaves.
Sorry, it's closer to a cancer thing, not a COVID thing.
Yeah, basically. So hashtag nailed it Wilson wrote, this isn't all they wrote, but they did write, they've never felt such absolute vileness or felt such hope. 2020 has showed us the worst: racism, science deniers, nepotism, etc., and the very best: every single person who stood opposed to injustice of humanity. 2021 holds promise. And sometimes I forget because it feels like it was so long ago. Last year we had a huge Black Lives Matter movement, which was a time where you could really see people for who they were, and you could really see where people were fake supporting and actually supporting, depending on what stance they took on what was happening at the time, I feel like. And people who do support the people of color community really went the extra mile in sort of reaching out, or did not. It was either one or the other. And I think the people who showed their face, who were willing to speak up against racism, who were willing to really, a lot of people said to family members, like, this is it, I cut you off, like, this is where we're done. Which I saw a lot of on my social medias, a lot of people who cut off family members over Black Lives Matter, which I feel like should be done. If you are not for equality, if you're not against the injustice that is in our quote unquote justice system, then you shouldn't have an opinion, especially if you're not a person of color.
I totally agree. I've said pretty vocally that I'm totally for the Black Lives Matter movement. I have also cut off a bunch of people from my life who have reacted negatively towards people protesting about an injustice that was done. When everything happened with George Floyd, I saw a lot of people that were saying, like, he should have just complied. And like, he was complying. He was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's video of it. How are you putting this on the person that was killed, who was telling these people that he couldn't breathe? I don't know. That it's just mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling how people can be so against that. Yeah, I have no problem cutting off people who I feel don't add anything beneficial to my life. I know that sounds selfish, but listen, if I don't provide anything for you and you don't provide anything for me, why should I waste my time?
Yeah. And also one of the questions that I was reading earlier in that friend list was like, would you, it was about alignment of views. And I think it's the one thing that we can really agree on. If our views about justice and equality don't align at all, I don't want you involved in my life, because you are not for the progression of humanity. And I think that's something we both agree on.
Yep, for sure. Actually, somebody asked me not that long ago, so you're saying that, like, if your best friend said that they didn't believe the same thing as you in regards to, social justice, like the Black Lives Matter movement, or even like the denial of science over like COVID, like, you're saying that you would just cut them off, like your best friend? Like, yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes,
Totally.
I would. I would see them in a completely different light. And, listen, I love you to death, but yeah, I'd cut you the fuck right off.
Yeah, because my views wouldn't not only align with yours, but they'd be morally apprehensible,
Exactly. Now, I mean, listen, if somebody doesn't believe in the same things as me, I'm not expecting to change anybody's views. I hope that they can see down the road how shitty their own views are,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want you in my life, though.
Yes.
I don't know. That's just me. That's me. I don't want to deal with those people.
Snowballing off of that same Facebook comment where I said there's more. A pro and con of 2020 is the memes have been choice. The con of that is we will literally meme the apocalypse and then mood.
I mean, mood.
Yeah, that's all I can say to that. What was your favorite meme of 2020?
Oh my God.
I already know what your favorite meme is. I don't think you realize.
I probably don't, because I have so many memes in my phone.
It's the $600 stimulus check.
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah.
All the memes that came with that. Oh yeah. I saved so many of those.
You send me so many stimulus check memes.
I sent them to my supervisor too. Like, she kept telling me to go to my room.
Oh my God. I think that, okay, this is an underrated meme that I think the Hamilton Lin-Manuel Miranda lip biting selfie was my favorite meme of 2020.
I think I saw the picture that you're talking about.
Oh, you did. You remember I sent you that video where it was like, it was like just 5,000 pictures of Lin-Manuel Miranda just biting his lip. And the girl was just like, oh, what's this? What am I looking at? Oh my God. And it was like tabs and tabs and tabs of it. Yeah, that was a good one. I feel like it was really underrated, but we're both so into Hamilton that like.
Oh yeah, I was watching it like when it first came out on Disney Plus. Literally, I'd come home from work and just turn it on and watch it every day.
Yeah. I think the memes that came out of Hamilton are, and I still use like, my God, I say that all the time.
You really do.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. But Lin-Manuel Miranda was a good one for me. Also, what was it? Oh, I am once again asking.
No.
That's
yeah. That was a good one.
That was a good one. I think the political memes really were just like on point, and we both agree those Bernie memes.
Listen, there were some good ones. Oh my God, there was this one like video of like that fucking, okay, you know the song from the Leak Spin website?
Yes. Oh my God.
With the guy playing the drums and he's singing the song and somebody like put Trump in the background and like Biden is the one playing the drums and singing the song. And then the cat is there and it's just vibing to the music. That was amazing.
That's perfect. And Mike Pence and The Fly. That was a good one too.
The Fly.
Yeah.
Poor Fly.
Like I said, politics really just like overwhelmed the year that we have no choice but to like meme it. So next time we're gonna have a guest and we're gonna talk about socialization over the internet. Me and you have recently started sort of re-engaging in our friendship group. Not our primary friendship group of me and you, but like our internet spectrum of friends.
Mm-hmm.
And how long do you think that this is going to be a thing? How long do you think that we're going to have to just, here's the other thing. We're seeing each other next week. We haven't seen each other for 4 months. It feels like longer, but it's only been 4 months. So it's
been feeling like forever.
So the next time we record an episode with a guest, we'll have had the most amazingly platonic romantic evening together. And
we're gonna have an amazingly relaxed weekend. Definitely a lot of just like time in,
just
keeping
vibing.
each other company.
Yeah.
And my cat will be with us.
And the cat.
His name is Belmont, by the way. Yes. The Castlevania characters. Belmont, the Belmont family.
I named him.
You did. I asked for advice on what I should name this cat. He is a black and white cat. I love tuxedos. Um, and I asked for inspiration on naming him. And that was like the first thing you shot out at me, Belmont. I was like, oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, this is a good one.
I was supposed to adopt his brother too, but he was actually adopted out to somebody else. So I think he misses his brother. So eventually down the line, I'm going to have to get him a friend.
Yeah.
But for next weekend, we're going to have to be his friends.
I'm fine with being his friend. He might not be fine with it, but I'm fine with it.
No, he hisses at you.
Yeah, he hates me. I'm like, I gave you your birth name. Like, how dare you? So how long do you think, we're coming into an age of like primarily how we socialize is online, but you and me, honestly, we haven't been doing much of that. You and your partner are long distance. Me and my partner is long distance. So we can relate to that. But our interaction, I feel like, has been very minimal over the past year, and we're just sort of really now getting back into socializing on the internet and making it a bigger part of our lives.
Yeah, I mean, for a while there, like, I was driving up to see you like every other month almost. Now it's definitely like, okay, yeah, should definitely not be traveling and everything, opening up, your bubble, and potentially exposing other people to the virus. So, had to cut things off. And then not only that, but you ended up becoming homeless, and, I helped you move out of your house that you were in at the time. And I think that really like had a big effect on having to take initiative to try and work things out long distance again. Having to be like, okay, well, we can't see each other like we used to. We're gonna have to make it work online. And I mean, a while back, you and I were playing Final Fantasy 14 together, and you stopped for a while. And recently I stopped for a while, but you had stopped for a long while.
Oh yeah, it was like a year and a half.
Yeah. And you've recently come back to it.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun too. Honestly, it's not like usually when I come back to things and it's kind of like, this is a pain. Like, we found ways to make it enjoyable again, even if there are some aspects of it that we don't find enjoyable. And we've been, like I said, re-involved in our social community that sort of dropped off before, which is, one of the people that we became a lot more re-involved with is going to be the guest on our next podcast about exactly this, which is online friendships and relationships, who we've been friends with for 7 years now, by the way.
Oh my God, has it been that long?
It has been 7 years since we've been friends with Saya. And we just recently started, I know you've kept up more than I have with her, but I mean, we've recently been really keeping up, and it's something that sort of, I think, is going to grow with us along with 2021. I hope that we'll re-engage. I actually just got a phone call, a Facebook Messenger call from someone that I have not seen nor talked to in years, one of my friends. And it was very refreshing. I feel like this is really the year where we're going to sort of like reach out more towards people,
towards the end of 2020, I started to do the same thing. I actually reached out to another friend of mine who lives abroad. He's in Europe, and you know, we actually hadn't talked for a really long time, and I don't really know why we fell off, but I guess like we both kind of got busy with our own lives, you know, like we live in separate countries. Like, I mean, shit, it's a 6 hour time difference between us.
Yes.
So, that's pretty big. But you know, a little like towards the middle of 2020, I decided to see how he was doing, and I reached out. And same with another friend in, you know, the UK. I mean, we were always kind of in touch here and there, but we've been trying to make a more conscious effort to stay in touch.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice. You know, sometimes I forget that like it's easy to get in touch with someone, and I take that for granted because sometimes that's all I want is for somebody to get in touch with me and like just be like, hey, what's up? How are you doing? Like, you okay? Like, definitely always good to treat others the way you would, you know, hope that your friends would treat you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think that definitely you've been at this longer than me, especially. We're gonna go more into, like I said, relationships, friendships, next episode, but you've been in a long distance relationship for a really long time. I've only just recently been in a long distance relationship with my partner because I've been relatively close to them until I became homeless. And so we're sort of dealing with that. We sort of deal with things at the same time, but sometimes they lag behind a little, which is a weird thing with us. It's that ESPN and shit. We tend to go through this very similar things in life, where we can really lean on each other in a way that we understand.
Definitely. I think it's kind of weird how things like that happen. But I mean, like around the time you got married, that's when I got into a relationship with someone that like he wasn't like super close, but he was nearby. Like I would see him almost every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So like he was close enough where like I could have a physical relationship, like we could go out places, you know, I could physically see him. And that was kind of odd for me because like it's really difficult for me to open up romantically to people, but I got into that like around the time you started dating someone too.
Mm-hmm.
And you got married. Now I never got married, but we both left those relationships behind.
Yes.
And
at around the same time.
Yeah, funny enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I kind of started getting into a relationship long distance and I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna take a chance. Like, I've got feelings here. I just got out of a relationship, but I have feelings, so I'm gonna put that out there. Yeah, I've been in a long distance relationship for 4 years. And like you said, now you've recently committed to a more long distance relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been, my love language is very physical. I really need to be around someone to feel that sort of connection. So this has been difficult for me. Because I feel like I'm in a situation where the person that I'm with, I hope that they become a guest on the show later on in life so we can talk about some things more. It'd be fun to get their opinion on a couple of things on live. I'm one of those.
Love that.
I'm one of those kind of people. I'm like, let me put you on the spot real quick. But I feel like my love language is, like I said, very physical. It's very hard for me to express the way I actually feel. I'm very much words of affirmation towards other people. I will tell you that I love you. I'll tell you that you're super sweet, you're very pretty, you're beautiful, like you're amazing, you're incredible. But when it comes to important conversations, I can't connect with someone in a way romantically that matters unless I'm physically there. And I date online now. So the last 3 people that I've dated, I've met online. And so, and it's not like your situation where they're, you know, hours and hours and hours away. I like to keep my people within, like I say, a Mrs. Incredible's arm's reach, which is between an hour and a half away, enough so that I don't mind going to drive to them, but also far enough away that they're not going to ever surprise me at work. I like my independence, but long distance relationship has been really strange for me. It's taught me a lot about the way that you have to interact with someone romantically. In when you lose that physical connection, you have to find a way to supplement it with some sort of emotional compatibility. And if you can't, it's not going to work as well. I feel like I've done not as great a job as I could. I feel like maybe it could improve, but for right now, I don't think neither of us have very high expectations of each other because of everything going on in the world. We're sort of giving each other like, okay, just feel whatever you need to feel. We'll worry about other stuff later, which I think has been a really positive thing for me in a long distance relationship. Some patience and forgiveness and, you know, all that.
In regards to me, it has been a bit difficult. I mean, I'm used to the distance, but like you said, so my boyfriend lives in another country. He lives in Canada, and I cannot currently travel to Canada because of the virus. And he can't come to see me either. So it's been hard. It's been over a year since we've last physically seen each other. We do, you know, video chat consistently, but it's not the same. And like you said, we've kind of had to, you know, find a more emotional connection to build on, make some compromises, and, you know, do more work in putting the effort in to try and be more understanding of each other, more empathetic of, you know, the other situation. We're both going through really different things in our lives right now. So, you know, trying to be understanding with each other is another big thing.
Takes a little bit of flexibility, love, and trust. That's a Steven Universe reference you'll learn next week.
Oh my God. I don't watch Steven Universe, so I'm just like, oh, all right.
You will next week. She's gonna know everything. She's gonna be quoting it and everything. It's gonna be great.
We'll see. I don't know. I think I'm not trying to make any like antis here, but I don't like the animation. It bugs me.
The story and the music, and it's the only thing that makes me cry anymore. I sat there on a ride to Walmart with the Steven Universe soundtrack, and I have watched this show about 20, 30 times already. I've listened to the soundtrack 100 times easily. I still sob every time. And I just want, if you don't indulge in that feeling with me, I really just want you to witness me feel that feeling, because I don't feel that very often around you, that sort of raw, like, sadness.
Man, not like when we watched Tristan and Isolde.
Oh my God. Holy
that was
shit.
an experience.
Wow. Yeah, that was something.
This one over here left the oven on in the house, and
we almost died.
Yeah, we had to take a really long walk after we opened up all the windows and left the door ajar with the screen.
Yeah. It's fine. We're
Like,
alive now.
oh, well, I mean, it's a good thing we didn't have to light a match or anything.
That would have been terrible. Good thing nobody smoked at the time.
Right.
You know, our vapor leaves.
Vapor leaves. Yes.
So how do you think that we're going to move forward this year? How do you think that, you know, this world is dominated by this virus? We've got our own little podcast going on. Like, what kind of impact are we going to make? What do you see us as coming forward?
Oh God, that's a lot of pressure, man. I
I'm
don't want
sorry.
to put pressure on myself. I don't know. I just, you know, I hope people can listen to us and enjoy our conversations, enjoy our different opinions, and chime in, join us, you know, comment, let us know what they think. I want it to grow into a nice community.
I would love that for us. I want us to have a community of people who are willing to look at all aspects of a situation and weigh in their opinions. I like the portion, and I think I'm especially gonna like having guests on to sort of bounce ideas off of. I'm very excited about what we're gonna do. I know that we've got at least 3 episodes planned already where we have guests coming in. We have an episode next time. These episodes are going to air every other Sunday, schedule allowing, because the first episode may not premiere everywhere on launch day. We're hoping by February 28th. That would be today if you are listening to it through our RSS feed, or possibly a few days later if you're listening to it anywhere else. But following that, once everything technical is approved, will be every other Sunday. We've got next episode, we have our guest Saya coming on to talk about internet connections and relationships and how video games have transformed the last decade of our lives. And the episode after, not going to make any promises, but we might delve more into the LGBTQ community, sexuality, and gender exploration, and we'll probably have a guest on for that episode also. Do you want to go ahead and do our plugs?
Our plugs.
Our plugs.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, our plugs.
Our plugs.
Well, so so if you ever want to reach us, see what's going on with us, you can reach us in many places. Instagram at SSABTpodcast. Twitter, we go by the same handle. Yeah, how convenient is that? At SSABTpodcast.
We've also got merch. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. You can totally advertise the merch.
I'm really excited. We've got merch, man. We've got masks. I got a super cute cupcake and coffee mask. We've got one with just the coffee, just the cupcake. We've got throw pillows. We've got clocks. Anything that you buy helps support us. Our logos, I think, are really adorable. My 10-year-old kid did them. Like, come on. Like,
So
isn't that
cute.
That's so cute. Like, we commissioned them to do our art, and
Yeah, we do pay them.
Yeah, they do
pay anyone that contributes.
Yes. So our merch at Redbubble at SSABT Podcast. That's at Redbubble. Anything that you buy helps to support us. It would be really great. We have a Facebook page, Sweet Stuff and Bitter Thangs Podcast. We have a Patreon, SSABT Podcast. Our Patreon, by the time this launches, we'll have the lowest tier of $1, the highest tier of $50. With the lowest tier, it's just a general thank you. For as little as $5, you can get early access to episodes starting on episode 2, and you can get the full soundtrack of A Taste of Us, which we decided is the name of our intro and outro track, by the lovely Justin Arena. Please check them out on Facebook. They did our music. Amazing. And yeah, you get that as a bonus track. And we're also doing FAQs and all kinds of stuff. Check out our Patreon so that you can see what we're up to.
Yeah. And like I said, you know, if you have anything that you want to add, anything you want to hear from us, contact us any way you want, you know, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy what we have to offer.
You can also email us at sweetstuffbitterthangs@gmail.com. If social media is not your thing, we can go old school, man. No biggie.
You've got mail.
Yeah, not that old school.
I am that old, though.
Oh, no, we're that old. That sucks.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm showing my age, but I was around for that.
Okay, so what do you think? We did it?
I think so.
We did it. All right. Thank you for listening to the first episode, Sweet Stuff and Bitter Thangs podcast.
Sweet Stuff, Bitter Thangs.
Sweet Stuff, Bitter Thangs. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. We did it.
I think that's pretty good.
That's pretty great. Do you want to end this and meet back up in Discord in a sec?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
All right.